Tesla has been an undisputed king in the top electric car range. The furthest right now a Tesla Model S can go is 370 miles, but that can change very soon. Lucid Motors, a company that I reported on a while back. This is 3 years ago, actually, when they were participating in the Monterey Car Week. They are back from the dead with a $1 billion investment. They're building a factory and they're going in production by the end of this year, and they're claiming they're going to have over 400-mile range for their all-electric sedan that are calling Air, the Lucid Air. Tom Moloughney is going to join me here to talk about it. We have some doubts, but at the same time, I'm also going to play a clip from the interview with their CEO, Peter Rawlinson, that I just had a few weeks ago about how is it possible when they were kind of a dormant for all of this time, and yet all of a sudden they're just about to beat Tesla and take their, top range crown away from them. And as you know, Tom is joined by many other monthly contributors to this channel starting this year. Cindy Monroe, the CEO of Faraday Future, Carsten Breitfeld, Rich Rebuilds, and many others. So Tom is going to be here in just a second. By the way, if there's ever been a reason to subscribe to this channel, it's now. For all of these amazing people contributing to this channel, click the subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you don't miss anything moving forward. So yeah, I mean, obviously range is important. Me and Tom has talked about it many times that, technically most people need about 200-mile range. That's what people pretty much are 99% of the cases need on a daily basis. But of course, right now, as we're trying to prove the electric technology, people want big, longer and longer range. They want to go from San Francisco to LA without stopping and charging and stuff like that. And so the race is still on. And 400 mark is something that Elon promised in his last earnings call, the Q4 earnings call. They're saying they're going to try to get there. Maybe we'll get there later this year. But as Lucid Air is going to production, that's going to be interesting who actually takes that crown. By the way, a quick reminder that this video and this channel is sponsored by Byton. Check out their all-electric SUV with over 300-mile range that's coming to the United States and Europe next year. They're starting in production very, very soon. So don't forget to reserve your Byton. It is absolutely free. It takes about a minute of your time. So go to the description of this video and reserve your Byton today, just like myself and tens of thousands of other people. I myself personally cannot wait. All right. So before I bring Tom in and talk about Lucid Motors and their sort of contract with Tesla, I gotta say today is 1 year anniversary of Tom being on this channel. He's the first contributor really to this channel, and he's been doing this every week, no matter what's going on in his life, no matter what's going on with weather, wherever he is at. As you can see, all of these clips are from 3 different continents that we've been talking and doing our interviews with. I gotta tell you, we are so lucky to have Tom here, me as a host and you guys as viewers. Tom is one of the most veteran journalists, electric car journalists in the industry. And even when I travel and see him interact with other journalists and the brands and everything, he is respected by every single one of them. I have never seen, a person more respected. So, I feel so lucky that he's been coming here every time with his opinion, with his perspective, with his experience. So and it's been a year. So Tom, first of all, welcome back, but most importantly, happy anniversary, and thank you so much for being part of the show. And most importantly, part of the success of this channel.
Oh, thank you, Alex. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't quite know it was a year. I know we've been doing this for a while. And as you say, by hook or by crook, we managed to do the show every week. We've never missed a week, which is pretty remarkable considering how much you're traveling and how much I'm traveling. So we've managed to do this, 3 continents, 52 shows or whatever by now. It's been a fun ride, and I hope your subscribers appreciate our segment here. I think we do a nice job chatting about the electric vehicle industry.
Oh, absolutely. And now that we have this, many contributors now, but you are the one who started it all, right? We kind of tried it out and people absolutely loved it. Your segment get a lot of views, and I got, Eli and now a few other contributors, a couple more coming. I should probably give a quick preview. We have a couple more exciting contributors, but listen, thank you so much for doing this. But let's jump into this.
Okay.
Lucid Air. Tell my audience just a little bit about, this. They came on the market, kind of stormed the market when no one else was really kind of out there challenging Tesla. Then they ran out of money and so forth. So tell us a little bit about the background here for the Lucid Motors.
Sure. So one of the things I want to correct you on, I know sometimes when you're doing that role in the beginning, words just come out of your mouth, but you said back from the dead. They were never dead, Lucid. They were on life support. Maybe they were in a coma, but they were not dead. Lucid continued to function. They ran short on cash, which happens with a lot of these startups. And, they were able to get some funding, and now they're back, in operation, ready to go to production. Lucid actually started in 2007, and we saw the introduction of the Lucid Air in 2016. So yeah, it's been 4 years that the car's kind of been hanging out there for a little while, but it still looks like a fresh design. I mean, granted, this is the prototype. We're going to see the production Lucid Air in about a month and a half at the New York Auto Show. I'll be there covering that. I'm glad to see that they're still here. They're still relevant. And the good thing about it is they're talking about doing stuff that no one else has been doing before. It's not just another vehicle. They're talking about 900-volt architecture, extreme efficiency, more than 400 miles of range. So, hey, the more the merrier.
All right, so let's talk about that 400-mile range, because if they really achieve that, and they might do so before Tesla, they will kind of become the leader. Not kind of, they will become a leader. In top range. Do you think that? Well, first of all, how is this possible that they've just kind of suddenly just completely leapfrog a Tesla? And do you think that they're actually going to achieve that? I know you had some doubts.
Well, we were talking about this last week. One of the articles that I wrote on InsideEVs kind of said, I'll believe it when I see it. And I still have that position. We've talked to multiple people at Lucid. I've talked to a few of the people there, and they're kind of pretty confident that, yeah, we're going to achieve this. And it's not going to be like, 401 miles. They said that their goal is, that their plan is to have 400 miles of range highway driving. So, 60, 70 miles an hour, 75 miles an hour, and still do 400 miles range. If the car can do that, now you're talking about an EPA rating of at least 425, 430 miles. If it can go 400 miles, at highway speeds, the EPA range is going to be much higher than 400. So again, they seem confident that they're going to achieve it. I hope they do. Anybody could do that if you put a giant battery in a car, but supposedly that's not what they're doing. They had recently, CEO Rawlinson had an interview with Electric, and he basically told them that, listen, we cracked the efficiency. We're actually more efficient than Tesla. So if they achieve that, that's what I'm more excited about than, say, a 450-mile range. I mean, anybody could stuff a 150 kilowatt-hour battery in a car and give it a 400-mile range. But if they can get 400 plus miles on a, say, 100 kilowatt-hour battery, now they're doing something good, or a 90 kilowatt-hour battery or whatever. So let's see what they're talking about with the fact that they've managed to crack the efficiency ceiling and make a more efficient car than Tesla. Tesla, as we know, they're the king of efficiency. Nobody beats Tesla. There's a couple. Hyundai's pretty good at it also, but Tesla, has the most efficient electric vehicles. They have the longest EPA range rating, and Lucid seems to be. That's what they seem to be really going after, is making the most efficient electric vehicle on the market. And that would be good if they can achieve that.
And I think this has been one of the biggest things that I know people have been concerned about. They're saying, hey, listen, they've been kind of in a coma, I guess, as you put it, for a while. Now they go into production. The car looks very similar now that they've unveiling the final design. So are they bringing the same technology that they had 4 or 5 years ago now to to market. Now, I recently talked to Peter Rawlinson, as you mentioned, the new CEO of Lucid and a former CTO of Tesla, from what I remember. And let me play what he had to say here, and then I'll get your comment. And this is him talking about essentially, what progress they've made and where they at with the technology now.
In terms of the core ambience of the car, the space concept that makes this car so much more luxurious and spacious on the inside, more compact on the outside, the look, the aesthetics, absolutely. What you see is what you get, pretty much. But in terms of the core technologies, we've had a transformation. We've had a series of upgrades. We've had a series of breakthroughs technologically, and we're implementing all of those in a revolutionary package in these beta prototypes. So if you look at the difference, aesthetically, the betas will look very similar to the alphas, very similar to production intent. But there's a world of difference in terms of technology. Because let me tell you, the biggest single risk as a company, that we bring out yesterday's car tomorrow.
So he is very adamant about the fact that they made a big progress, and later in the interview he said that a lot of this came from our experience working with Formula E. What's your comment on that and what he had to say?
So my comment basically is, well, Peter, I should hope so.
Okay.
They introduced the car in 2016, so they must have been working on it since 2013, 2014, somewhere in there. It's 2020. So was it 2013 Model S the same as the 2020 Model S? No, Tesla's made improvements to it. Technology's advanced. So yeah, I would certainly expect them to have made, kind of massive improvements from the 2013 when the car was on paper and the engineers were designing it and engineering it, to what's going to come and basically be available in early 2021. So I'm not really all that excited about that. I think if he said, the real news would have been if he said, oh yeah, the car is exactly the same as it was when we rolled it out in 2016, we're bringing it to market, we haven't changed anything. I think that would have been the big news. But to say, in the last 5 or 6 years since we've been working on this car, we've made improvements and it's better than it originally was. Yeah, I should hope it's better than it originally was. So that's my answer, Alex.
All right. Well, I mean, the reason I asked him that question even when I did the interview is because a lot of people were asking that question, and it was good to see that he was very passionate about saying, no, we've been doing a lot of work. So, but I gotta say, I've noticed, even now as we're talking about it, but also in your article on InsideEVs, and just in case if people don't know, you are one of many contributors to InsideEVs, but I'm the best one if I have to make a judgment call. But so your article there also was kind of skeptical, and you've been always very sort of optimistic. I mean, we just did a video on a car that's coming up, about the Mini, right? The car that's coming in the next year or so with 10-mile range, and you were optimistic about that even. But somehow I feel, some sort of words of caution here about the Lucid. Why are you so much more timid and less optimistic about Lucid? Unless I'm misunderstanding your vibe here.
Well, I'm rooting for them. Put it that way. I really hope Lucid, gets everything together. I know they got all this funding. I know they're on course to show us the production car, bring it to production the end of this year. They're making progress with their factory. I mean, all the things seem to be going well. But don't forget, Alex, like we've talked about before, they've had a lot of setbacks. This company, they haven't, just kind of taken off and just ran with the ball. And that gives me reason to pause and just be a little cautious. Look, they've got some great people over there. I actually really like the way the Lucid Air looks. I hope it doesn't vary too much from the prototype, the production version. I think it looks like a really, really cool sedan. The interior is beautiful. Specs are all great. But maybe I'm just a doubting Thomas when it comes to the startups. Every startup so far has kind of fumbled the ball. You got to remember, go back to Tesla, their early days. It wasn't really guaranteed that they were going to make it. If they didn't get a bunch of cash infusion from Toyota and Mercedes, they might not have made it either. You know, when that Roadster rollout was a disaster. So, you know, they're kind of lucky to have made it and be in the position they're in now. I mean, they're doing fantastic. You know, I own a Tesla, you know, big supporter. But look at the other companies, you know, the Faraday Futures, and, you know, I mean, we talk about Byton. I know Byton is one of your sponsors. Byton probably has had the smoothest, you know, evolution of any of the startups that I've seen so far. I mean, you know, they lost their CEO. There was a little bit of a shakeup at the top. But other than that, they're kind of, you know, been plugging along and chugging along. Everything's been totally on target. They're a little delayed. But I mean, other than that, you know, look at these the other startups. So until they produce, until Lucid's out there putting the cars on the road, of course I'm going to be a little skeptical. I'm rooting for them. I like what they're doing so far, but you know what? You know, get 10,000 cars on the road, and then, you know, I'll break out the champagne.
All right. Well, now, so, you know, they're essentially, this is a four-door sedan. You know, they're going to end up being compared and probably will compete with the Tesla Model S and a Porsche Taycan. Do you think they will be able to find the, you know, the customers and their place in the market? Do you think they're better in some ways or will appeal to some people? And in other ways, my opinion, it's all about the interior. I think they will have the most luxurious interior I have seen in an electric car. Where do you think they're going to find their customers in the target audience?
Well, I think what you touched on with the interior, if you want to pry somebody away from Tesla, that's really where you can say, you know, attack their soft underbelly. Because, you know, the Teslas are very nicely laid out and, you know, very minimalistic. There's nothing wrong with it, but they don't, you know, they might not appeal to the traditional automobile buyer. You know, I mean, if there's one thing when I show people my Model 3, you know, that, you know, friends of mine that might own, you know, an Audi A5 or a BMW 5 Series or whatnot, you know, they kind of look at the interior and they're like, huh, like that's really plain. Like it's nice, but it's really plain. And I think that might hold back some of the sales for Tesla. I like it. I like the minimalist, you know, part of it and how the center screen controls everything, but it's not for everybody. So, you know, I think if you're going to put the Lucid Air up against any car, it's going to be the Model S more so than the Taycan that you mentioned. It's going to be the Model S. And, you know, if it delivers 400 miles of range and it has a much more luxurious interior as it appears it's going to than a Model S, they're going to be able to pick off some potential Model S customers. Now, it doesn't have the Model S supercharging network, which is a huge advantage. But I also think some of the people that are new to electric cars don't realize that it has that huge advantage. They don't really understand charging yet. They don't, you know, understand that Tesla has this giant network and that the, you know, the charge points and the Electrify Americas are just kind of trying to catch up. Now, Electrify America is catching up quickly. You know, I admit it. But, you know, the charging experience isn't the same yet. And they're not everywhere like the superchargers seem to be. But, you know, I think there's a market for this car. If Lucid brings it to the market, it's supposed to start at somewhere around 60,000. Now, that wouldn't be the 400-mile range. They're going to have a smaller battery pack. But if this starts at around 60, and then the large battery all loaded up, say is, you know, a little over 100,000, you know, kind of, you know, loaded Model S price range, they'll find buyers.
All right. And, you know, they did mention to me that they will obviously start producing the most expensive model. That's going to be, you know, it'll be on 100,000. And that's how pretty much everybody, I think, except for Fisker rolls. And that makes sense. Now, one more thing. Now, you know, and this is kind of an elephant in the room for a lot of us, especially journalists. You know, the $1 billion investment that they got, it was from the Saudi Arabia fund, right? And as journalists, you know, as soon as they say Saudi Arabia, we go, you know, at the same time, we do have a global economy. Saudi Arabia Fund has invested in many American businesses, including Tesla, though they just withdrew most of their money right before the Tesla had a huge surge. You know, do you think this is going to be an issue as far as where the money is coming from. And of course, you know, Saudi Arabia, they're pretty much the kings of oil production, and sort of a lot of people look at them as the enemy of the green movement. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think they'll have some issues with that?
I don't know. It wouldn't bother me. Money's money. You know, it's, you know, I think it'd be different if you said that a Saudi firm came to the US and bought Lucid and took it over. Then you might get some people saying, you know, oh, it's a Saudi company. I don't know if I want to put my money there. But just the fact that they, you know, invested money in the company, you know, let's open up the books of, you know, all the automakers there and see where investments are coming from. You know, I think you'd be surprised to see that, you know, that probably is the case in a lot of companies, but that doesn't bother me at all. Could it be possibly turn some people off? Yeah, I guess. You know, the car's still going to be made here in the U.S. It's a U.S. company. You know, just the fact that, you know, Saudi investors own a whole bunch of stock, you know, I don't know how many people care about that. I should hope not a lot of people care.
All right. Well, I'm still thinking about it because, well, for many reasons. I think there's going to be a different video, and I think I'm actually going to ask them straight up at some point. So that's a different conversation. So, all right. Well, listen, I'm excited. I'm more excited than you about this car because I think that the fact that it's one of the first, if not the first, truly luxury sedan. That really excites me. Obviously, the technology. Let's say they really deliver on what Peter's been talking about. So, and you know, it's gonna be. It looks like it's happening this year, so we don't have to wait for that much longer. Any sort of last wishes for Lucid? Do you believe in them? Do you think they will actually get this done and people will be driving the Air, you know, on the streets very soon?
So as I said earlier, I'm rooting for them. I haven't, you know, I haven't seen a lot yet to make me say, oh yeah, they're on solid ground. You know, we're all kind of still waiting for, let's do a media run. Let's do a factory tour. Let's, you know, let us take a ride in the car or drive the car. You know, these are all the things as you're moving closer to production that make journalists believe, okay, they're for real. We haven't had any of that yet. You know, I'd love to go visit their factory. I'd love to go visit their headquarters and talk to them there. You know, I'm here on the East Coast. You know, I think you've already visited their HQ. I'm pretty sure, but you know, you don't live far from them, so you can just drive over there. Host a media event, bring people out, show us what you're doing, talk to us about what you're doing. I mean, those are the kind of things that instill confidence. And like I said, I'm rooting for them. They got some good people over there. I really do love the way the car looks. And they seem to be getting back on track. You know, they're not on life support anymore. That thing go beep, beep, beep.
Right.
So,
no.
And
their blood pressure is back up. For
exactly.
Sure.
So yeah, you know, am I confident? No, I'm not confident in them yet. I hope in the next 4 or 5 months to be confident in them. But let's see what they show us. Let's see what we're allowed to talk to them about, and we'll go from there.
All right. Well, fair enough. You know, I will be riding in that car in the actual, latest prototype. I think in the next few weeks, I'll definitely let you know how that goes. But once again, thanks for sharing your thoughts, and most importantly, happy 1-year anniversary with our collaboration here on E4Electric. Hope for many, many more years, because I really do believe that, you know, your opinion and your participation here is just super important, and I know my audience enjoys it. Give some love to Tom in the comment section. I will see you next week, my friend.
Thank you, Alex. And remember, once you get all these big name people like Sandy Monroe and Henrik Fisker and Carsten Brightfield, you might not need me anymore. You might just push me to the side. So, you know, I hope you remember who started the sessions with you.
No, Tom, I think we're good here. You're the OG of this, so we're definitely keeping you on, whether you like it or not.
Thank you.
All right, see you next week, my friend.
Take care.
All right, guys, and of course, I should mention to you once again, but I will, that Tom is one of the contributors to InsideEVs. The link to all of his articles is in the description of this video. And of course, don't forget to follow him on Instagram. He does post some really cool stuff, especially when he travels and test drives the car and stuff like that. So follow him there. The link for that is also in the description of this video. And if you want to follow me and see what's going on behind the scenes of this show, of course, follow me on Instagram at E4Electric, though I'm on all social media under E4Electric. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, just for the fact that you'll catch Tom every week on this channel, click on the subscribe button and the bell notification, so that way you won't miss anything moving forward. All right, looking forward to your comments. We will accept the happy anniversary wishes. Looking forward to those. I will see you guys next time, and remember to stay charged.